Welcome to my channel. Today's video I'm going to show you how I made this card with a Technique Junkies stamp. Let's get started. Alright, so here I've got my jelly plate, and I've got this stamp platform that I bought. It actually came with the bubble stamp per Tim Holtz, and it's the perfect size for the jelly plate, so yay! I'm just going to make sure that's good and stuck on there because I will be flipping it over, and it is. And what we're going to do is we're going to start out by making a really sparkly background. I'm going to start out with the Sandcastle ink from Catherine Pooler. And I'm just going to brayer this ink onto the jelly plate. Now you can't really see it, but trust me when I say it's there. I stained my plate with God knows what, and it's fine, it still works, but sometimes it's hard to see what you laid down on there. Now I'm going to take the gold colored Shimmering Bliss. Here we are, gold, and it's a very subtle gold. It's mostly going to give us a shine factor more than a color factor. And I'm going to just spray some down onto my work mat. And I'm going to take my fan brush and just tap it on. Just here and there, it doesn't really matter, because this is all going to get squished. Now you don't have to do this with a jelly plate. You can color your background and then take an acrylic block and do the same thing. So next I'm going to go in with this Chestnut Mare, which is probably my favorite of the Shimmering Blisses because it's kind of a copper color, which I love. I love copper and gold. And I'm going to go ahead and tap down this Chestnut Mare onto my jelly plate. Just here and there again, not too crazy. I don't need a whole bunch because I have that sandcastle that you can't really see, but you'll see it in a minute. And then I'm going to do one more with just some water and my dirty brush. It doesn't matter. And just tap some water here and there. Now, let me just kind of wipe this up. I'm going to be using a piece of cream colored paper. You do want to use a light colored paper when you're doing something like this. White or cream is fine. I like the combination when I tested it. And I'm just going to flip this plate over. And I'm going to smush. And watch the magic. Look at that. Oh, that's so cool. I love that. I just love watching that. And just give it a good press down. Make sure the whole area is coated. Then I'm just going to pull it right back up. And there I've got myself a really cool shiny background. Now I'm going to dry this background and trim it down to 4 by 5 1/4 for my background panel. And I'll show you that when that's done. All right, there that is. It's all shiny and dry and pretty. And now we're going to go on to the next step, which is to test it to make sure that it's fully dry by just putting some clear embossing powder on. Because I do not want to have it be damp and wreck my design. And I just wiped it off with a little bit of a cloth that may have been a little bit damp, so I'll end up just putting this heat to this another minute. I'll be using the gold tinsel and this Beaded Curtain stamp. The gold tinsel is from Ranger. You could use anything you wanted. I think it would look really super cool black and white or rainbow, just whatever. It's just a super cool stamp. It reminds me of my youth. My mother used to make beaded curtains out of rolled up catalogs, Sears catalogs. So I'm going to place my paper down here into the corner of my Misty tool, and then I'm going to lay my stamp down. Now, double stamping it like this is risky. In hindsight, I probably would have left my paper bigger so that I could have a place to put my magnet if I needed to stamp again. But I'm just going to go for gold here and hope for the best. I'm going to use my anti-static powder tool and go ahead and just coat this piece of paper with it just to make sure that there's no oils or grease from my fingers. And then I'm going to go ahead and put my fingers all over it again. Because, yeah, I'm not thinking. I'll go ahead and coat my stamp with the Versamark ink. And I've just re-inked this thing because I know last time I made a video for you guys, it was kind of dry. So I just re-inked it, and my friend Abraham told me how to clean it, but I didn't clean it. I just put more ink on it. So I'm going to go ahead and, again, go for gold. Push this down with my pressure tool here. Y'all, I need some Christmas candy for my pressure tool. It's time for Christmas candy. I'm going to have to eat that Halloween candy. It's been sealed in the jar, so it'll be fine. And so when you're using that mica, the Shimmering Bliss, it's very hard to see your embossing ink. So you just cross your fingers, which I'm doing, right? You can see me doing that. And I'm pulling out my little hot dog tray and go ahead and just pour the embossing powder on here. And probably if you had a bigger piece of paper, you wouldn't make a mess like I'm making, but I'm stubborn. And I already picked that up, so that's what I'm doing. Just making sure the whole thing's coated. And it is, so I'm happy about that, yay. I'm gonna go ahead and grab my tool, my heat tool, and emboss that down. So the gold tinsel changes once you emboss it. It still keeps its glitter factor, but it does go not quite so dark. It lightens up a bit. But the tinsels are great for this time of year. Well, any time of year if you like bling. So we've got our bling going here. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to work on the next part of this card. Look at that beautiful sparkly goodness. So I'm going to go ahead and just brush this off a little to make sure after it's cooled that I'm getting any extra anti-static powder off that would impede our shine. And there, hopefully you can see that gold shimmering bliss in there. So I'm going to make a sentiment, but before I do that, I want to edge this. So I'm going to use some of the Sandcastle ink, and I've got a brush that already has some brown on it, but I'm just going to go around the whole thing, kind of framing in the beautiful golden deliciousness. And just very lightly. Notice I'm kind of tapping off before I go in. I don't want heavy darkness there. Just enough to, you know, enhance the middle portion of the card. All right, there's that part done. Now, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to zoom in, and then we're going to go on to the next part. So I've got a piece of watercolor cardstock, and I've got the gold Shimmering Bliss, and I'm going to go ahead and spray that directly onto this watercolor cardstock. And then I'm going to dry it, and I'll be cutting my sentiment from that, which is a twinkle sentiment that I guess I forgot to press play. But here it is all dry, and there's the sentiment, and I'll cut that out 3 times and put it all together. So now that I've got that all together, see, it has just a real subtle little shine to it from the gold. I'm going to grab the Chestnut Mare, and I'm going to make a band for it. So with the Chestnut Mare, again, want to make sure that I'm shaking it up really well, getting all that mica all mixed in, and I'm just going to spray kind of a band of it, just like that, and then I'm going to dry that. And I don't mind that it's splotchy or anything. I like it. So look at how shiny that dries. Then I'm going to trim that down to about 1.5 inches by 4, and I'm going to add some foam tape to pop it up. Oh, I just love that. Just making sure that I get it sized properly. So it looks like about 1.5 inches. 2 inches looks like too much. And yeah, we'll go. I guess that was 1 3/4 inches. I don't know. I lost my mind there. But I'll go ahead and trim the rest of that and put the foam tape on. See, just checking for fit. Happy with that. So I want to also put this card, I'm going to put this onto a white card base. before I put my band on, and I'm just going to glue it straight down and set something heavy on it so it goes flat. So that's all flat and ready to go. Let me zoom out here a little bit, and here's my piece here that I still haven't trimmed. I still need to trim it. So I'll go ahead and get that trimmed. That's going to really look lovely on there. Get everything out of my way and let's trim it. All right, it's trimmed. It's got its little poofy foam tape on it, and I didn't go too high on it, just a little bit. And again, my cinnamon die is also stacked, but I thought the word twinkle went really well with this. So I'm just going to make sure that's straight and lay it down on there, and then I'll go ahead and glue my sentiment down. Then all that's left to do is add the tittle to the eye, which I'm going to use a gem. And you'll notice during this video I put the gem in the wrong place, but I fixed it in Photoshop, and I fixed it in real too. But oh, my eyes, you know. So just putting a pretty thin line of glue down here, and then we'll stick it down. Make sure it's on there straight. And then I'll set something a little bit heavy on it so it'll just kind of stick down. All right, so all that's left to do now is finish off the card. So I've added some bling, I've added some stars, and I've added some little gems. See where I've got the tittle in the wrong place? Sorry about that. But there's our Twinkle Twinkle little card, which could be for Christmas, or it could be for a birthday, or it could be for anything you wanted. I hope you liked this video, and again, we use the Technique Junkies Stamp Beaded Curtain S929. We use Shimmering Bliss in gold and chestnut mare. And all these can be found on TechniqueJunkies.com, and you can save 10% using my discount code TJ10Color. Hope you like this video. Thank you for watching, and please give me a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button. Have a great day. Bye-bye.